And that's what's going to happen. I do want to talk about, because really, we have spent a good 30 minutes rehashing the debate and probably no value in it. But I do think there's a lot of value in the three of us and the people who are watching talking about what do the Democrats do now? What is the work of Democrats after tonight's debate?
All right. So what I'm already saying is Joe Biden is already using all their talking points in ads. That's number one. But also it needs to be fact checking. That's why I'm probably going to go ahead and do a few fact checkings as far as Bidenomics and inflation. We already know that inflation is globally, and US is literally one of the lowest in the G7 nations. So that's number one. They talked about unemployment under Donald Trump. Unemployment is at its lowest, particularly for Black people. Under Joe Biden, it is literally sitting at, as of this moment right now, it is sitting at 5.4%. No, 5.3%. So we have to basically go from talking point to talking point to talking point. As far as Nikki Haley is concerned, I'm so glad that she was on the debate stage because we can use her words again.
That was a big statement. And I think everybody here agrees. Now, when you go, because they kept talking about, so Fox News sat here and framed the whole concept of the American economy and Bidenomics as a failure by design, emphasizing that, well, the people here say like they can't afford to buy a bucket of milk. Like we're in Wisconsin and we can't afford to buy a bucket of milk. And so that's what we're seeing. And the American people thoroughly believe in their whole hearts that the American economy is struggling, that inflation is out of control because they live in a news vacuum where they're not finding out and hearing that England is in a historic recession, Germany's in a historic recession, New Zealand's in a historic recession, and America isn't because of the policies of the Biden administration. And the reality is Americans are traveling more, Americans are buying more, but they're broke according to what they think. How do you fix that? How can President Biden fix that?
Honestly, some people just stuck on damn stupid. I don't know how you can fix that. Do you have an answer? Because I can't answer that.
I will say
I got some, but Brian, you say yours first, and then I'm gonna hammer home because I'm always ready to bitch about the fucking things that Democrats don't do that they should be doing.
I know, and Zach's points are always great, right? Because Zach is going to talk about Gen Z and how we need to be mobilizing and galvanizing Gen Z, right? He's going to talk about that, and I think that he should. So I'm going to let him talk about that. I think here's my answer is that I don't think that Biden himself can fix it alone. I think that there needs to be a culture shift, and I think that that's happening little by little. I think that with Fox making the specific decisions to not cover the indictments, I was just reading up that MSNBC is now winning in the ratings wars. And so you're seeing more people move from Fox and actually watching MSNBC, which I think is helping with the concept of people being in their bubble, right? People are just watching Fox News because that's all they want to watch. And it's an echo chamber. To depart from that and watch a different news outlet that obviously is going to give you the other side, literally the other side, is going to give you exposure to new concepts and new ideas, and they're going to give you the indictments, but they're also going to give you the fact that we have the lowest unemployment rates, right? That we have specific metrics that we can point to that show something opposite, right? So I think that that's happening little by little. And just the fact that their fucking lineup is terrible. I mean, I'm talking about Fox News, right? Like Jesse Waters is not getting the ratings that Rachel Maddow is getting. It is what it is. Laura Ingraham and Sean Hannity may still be eating, but they have maybe hundreds of thousands of less views as they don't, and they make these specific decisions. So I think that that's part of it. But again, I do think that Zach's point is actually going to be correct, is that we need to be doing a better job at our messaging. We need to be talking about how we galvanize more Gen Z voters. Motherfucker, look, Republicans pay their people to go on, all these fucking pages and TikTok and Instagram and Twitter and whatever to talk all this shit and put out disinformation. Democrats need to start getting a little crafty and start, doing the damn same and having people combat and have, some what is it called? Digital rapid response teams that come out and talk about and combat the disinformation.
And I love me some Buss and Boots, but that's one Buss I wouldn't touch with Mentally Divine's nose. Okay, I know under no circumstance. Okay, and I know that there's one person on this chat right now who loves some feet, and I'm gonna let him pull them boots off because I don't want to see what's inside of them. Okay, under no circumstance. Now, Brian, you're right. I'll say it all day. This is where, and you brought up a phenomenal point. It is not the president's job to do his own messaging. It is his job to do his job as president, to execute these laws and to make life better for the American people. And that is what Joe Biden is doing. There are hundreds of people paid across the United States of America with donated money from people like us to do the job of messaging and to get the word out. And they are failing every single day. If nothing fucking else, there should be daily briefs given to combat misinformation that they email out or send out or fucking post on Twitter for people like us to get, so that we can then take that and then craft highly effective messages. I should not have to spend as much time as I spend trying to fact check the lies of Republicans on behalf of Democrats so that our country can move forward. I should have to do that because these people are paid to do it. We are doing a slave labor, yeoman's work, not just the three of us, but everybody on this, all of you. I know you. You do what we do. You're fighting the good fight like we're fighting the good fight, and we're doing it because we care about our country. We're doing it because we care about the truth. But the reality is there is money and there is funding out there that Democrats are not using effectively to do this work, and that is a part of the problem. Young people and Gen Z need to be invested in heavily. And I'm not talking about paying me. I would love more money, but I don't need more money. I would love more money, but I don't need more money. But there are young people in this country who need those funds, they need those resources, and it would invest in not only in the creator economy, it would invest in the Gen Z economy, but it would also invest in this nation's future, because we need our young people to be informed. We need them to be educated. We need them to know how to research and how to evaluate and combat bias. That's what we need, okay? And that is where I think, unfortunately, the Democratic Party is faltering. That's what I think. Kenny?
Let me add something. They do actually have brief. Well, I'm part of the briefings chat. I got all of them. So I do get the information. They email me like a little late, but I'm already done made the video already and send it to them. Like I already covered this shit. But they are a little late to the game when it comes to it. As far as paying people, no, they're most likely not going to pay anybody until a little closer towards the election time, based off of the information that I've been given. They actually are going to be investing in a lot of content creators. So we will possibly have an opportunity in order to be compensated for the work that we're already doing. However, they're probably going to be investing closer towards the election when people are actually paying attention. Right now, nobody really gives a fuck. But however, there should have already been a digital rapid response, like to Brian's, point, when it comes to battling misinformation, because there's already misinformation already put out there. And people's first impression is the first thing they go with. People believe the first thing that they see. Unfortunately, that's just the reality of it. When it comes to the shade room, the lies on, the whole Maui, Hawaii situation, Biden giving out crack pipes. I don't know how many damn lies the shade room gave, but us airing out our grievances and us basically, talking out loud and expressing our frustration with the administration's response when it comes to misinformation, it does work. And I can guarantee you personally that Hollywood Unlocked and Shade Room will never be back at the White House.
Well,
they shouldn't have been there in the first place. They shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
they shouldn't have.
Anthony should have been there. Kevin should have been there with B-Y, not B-I, Latin men. Michael should have been there as a young influencer of value and growth. They should have been there. That was a misstep. That was a misinvestment, and and it's okay to make mistakes. So I'm not trying to hammer it home. I'm just kidding. And I hear what you're saying when you're saying they're going to pay, they're gonna get it together. We don't have days to lose. Let me tell you what it's looking like right now, because I am seeing Black content creators on TikTok spew and spout misinformation at a rapid rate. People who have never talked about politics, who've never gotten into politics, who don't have a clue about politics, are now using Republican talking points to persuade young Black people because we are the targets. And it infuriates me. It makes me so angry. They are choosing to target my community. They are going after Black people and to shave off the vote. And then there's a group of Black people on social media who will say, it's okay, these aren't informed voters. You don't need many Black voters to effectively deflate the Democratic Party's chances of winning in an election. You don't need many. When you look at how Republicans are strategized, when you look at how they are doing voter suppression efforts, when you look at the little things they're doing legally in their states through laws, and then you look at this huge push in social media around a certain kind of influencer, and not just social media, you have big money being put out there. You have big people like, Ice Cube, Uncle Luke, Akbar V. You have Stephen A. Smith, the most known Black male voice in journalism, because there's so many Black men who will never watch an episode of anybody's news who look at Stephen A. Smith every single day. They know what they're doing. And the Democrats are doing what to combat this? We're going to wait. We're just going to sit back and chill.
Child, yeah.
Is that what we have?
And again, we talk about, but we talk about this all the time, y'all, about the fact that Republicans have really great, unfortunately, let me preface that by saying that Republicans have really great messaging. They have really great tools. They have really great, strategy to disenfranchise and to continue to ensure that people who they don't want to vote don't vote. They create great communication plans. They sit down together in rooms, brick and mortar. They have these conversations. They do Zoom calls. They strategize. And I think that we really need to. Absolutely right. We need to get hip to that. I think another thing is, and this is the great time to do it, and this is why, and Zach and I have talked about this a little bit offline, and I think it's just very genius. The concept that right now we're in a second wave of people who are craving content, right? You have you have COVID that happened where people were in the house, had nothing else to do but to binge watch TV, Netflix, shows, cable news, whatever it is, based on your generation, you were doing something specific. And now we're in a different space where we have a writer's strike where there's no TV coming out. There's no new content in terms of, streaming movies and things like that. So people are craving content and they're flocking to social media to get that content. If you're going to be somebody who is a Zoom politicon, you're going to be somebody who's consuming political content, and you go in there and you trust Too Raw, Too Real, and you trust Mentally Divine, and you trust Zachary Kirk, you're gonna crave that content and you're gonna watch it. And I think that right now we're in a prime time space where this new electoral process is coming up. This cycle is coming up, and we literally had to have started yesterday. We can't be we gonna do it last minute and people gonna pay attention. People are paying attention right now, and they have no other choice but to, because literally, again, you have these high profile ass people getting mugshots. You know what I'm saying? That are tied to political.
And just like this right here from Janice Pettijohn, like this is right. We're not only fighting against like these Republicans, we're fighting against progressives.
Yes.
Like we're fighting against
we're getting jumped.
But listen, but you know what? Right, say it. Why are we fighting against them, Brian? What they get?
These are not progressives. These are paid people who are coming on. And people don't understand how.
Say it again. Say it.
People don't understand how the system works on the back end. People are paid to sow division and have misinformation. It's the reason why you have people behind stock images of Black people on social media talking about they ADOS and they FBA and they this and that, and they not. They white people. They put these automated accounts and they're pumping out this misinformation based on what you post. That's how this shit works on the back end. For the people that don't know, okay, we in the fucking trenches. We understand how this shit works. Okay, so what we needed to do is what we saying is we need to be on the other side, putting out our information and backing it in the same way, because we need to have. It's the same reason we say every single year. You have the CPAC, you have the conservative PAC that happens every year, and you have these speakers that come out and they do conferences and stuff. Where's the Democratic opposition to that?
Where is it? That's what I'm saying. Where is it? It should be here. We should have as just as strong of strategic organization in this country as these. Did you not see the debate? They're not smart. These people aren't smart. They're not smart people. But yet and still, they have strategic organizing across the country, and they funnel this money and they make big money. Charlie Kirk is a millionaire because of CPAC. And here we are pulling pillar to post, pulling our stuff together because the Democrats haven't done the funding. And here's the thing. There's more money being given to the Democratic Party than to the Republican Party. We out-fundraise them continuously, but that money is going to the big organizations, the DNC, the DCC. It's not going to the grassroots CPAC. People aren't giving whatever our version of that would be, and then the DNC is sitting here holding the money. Kenny, you're saying they're going to hold it in their piggy bank? So Jamie Harrison is sitting up there going, I'm going to hold on to it. You know how I feel about Jamie Harrison.
I know how you feel about Jamie.
And I gotta calm down because I'm getting, people look, I am a Scorpio with a lot of.
I'm just telling you based off of what, and I understand where everybody is saying, and I think that yes, we can start early. I understand that starting early is a great thing, but unfortunately, and I'm just gonna be honest here with you guys, people have very short attention spans. A lot of people aren't paying attention, which is the very reason why they're being susceptible to the misinformation. Nobody's paying attention to any of this shit. They just believe the very first thing that they see. Yes, the messaging is there. Yes, we have the platform. Yes, we have things. You know what's crazy? I actually have information that shows that the White House actually sends all their information, everything that's happening, everything that's going on to every Black blog you could think of, the Shade Room, Hollywood Unlocked, Neighborhood Talk. They're sending it to literally Uncut. They're sending it to what the fuck is the other one? On Site. They're sending it to all these places, and they throwing all that information in the damn trash. All of it. So when JJ came out,
how many times you had to send somebody a brief or report information?
They send it regardless.
Before you realize this is a failed strategy. That's my problem. Is that they're wasting too much time.
They waste a lot of energy. Yes.
In regards to messaging, President Biden is working. There are people in this administration who are busting their ass, making phenomenal movements for the American people in a rapid way, but this one chunk of this system is a failure.
Yes, absolutely. I don't disagree with you there.
But let me say, go ahead.
Go ahead. What do you want to say?
No, what I want to say is it's more than just messaging at a time where no one is paying attention. For me, I'm thinking about the data that I have seen as we talk about Texas, right? As a case study, as a microcosm example, when we see that over the years, we're talking about decades. You want to talk about progress? Republicans are masters at understanding incremental change and culture shift and paradigm shift in small ways. They may not get the 2, 5, 7, 10% the next night or the next electoral process, but they may get 1% here and 0.5% here, and they spend advertising dollars and spend money on content on these specific places. That's why you see people who are called Tejanos, right? Who may be of Mexican descent, who may be of Latino descent that live in Texas, but they vote and are conservative and are Republican. There is data to show, and there is research to show and back that up, that there has been more dollars, energy, investment, time, and effort that has happened over decades of time to get to a point where this messaging has created a difference in opinion and culture and the ways that they see things and how things have been framed. And what I'm saying is, it's not necessarily that we're talking about just messaging, okay, well, 3 months out of or 4 months, or maybe closer to the election time. I'm saying, if you really want to fight for the progress and the culture shift that we really want, we need to be doing this all the time. And that may be on an election cycle, and it may not be, but it needs to be happening. You know what I'm saying? And so that's where I'm coming from it. And I think it's a bigger conversation than just what the Biden administration needs to do. I think this spans any Democrat. Like, if you are an institution and a party understanding how we function in a bifurcated political party system, because yes, there are multiple, but we're talking about 2 because that's what the fuck it is, that we have to be very honest about how we actually get to those ends. My question is, do we have the proper strategic consultants to have those conversations and to move the needle in that way? And I don't think that the current people are seeing that in that way.
But we also need the infrastructure. And by infrastructure, we need a platform. We do not have a true social. We don't have anything. Even when it comes to MSNBC, interesting enough, when Biden went to Maui, when he recently just went to Maui to see the devastation, guess who actually covered it? CNN, not MSNBC. Not one minute was ever aired on MSNBC as he was there for the devastation.
And I can agree with you. And what I'm saying is, if we want to change that, it's going to take time.
It's going to take a hell of an investment. We have to literally, but where are we going to get this particular platform? Even when it comes to TikTok, YouTube, right now, just because we're speaking positively of the Biden-Harris administration or anything democratically, we're being oppressed at this very moment because of the way they set up their algorithms. So TikTok, every video y'all post, where have they gone?
I don't believe in somebody giving me a platform. That's why 3+1 Media exists, because I'm Black, I'm LGBTQIA+, anybody don't give me shit. It's not going to happen. I'm not Tim Scott. I'm not sitting here saying, I'm going to play your game because I'm going to drive out of poverty and I'm going to make my way in the world because you're going to help me up. I'm not saying that. I don't think that's the way it works. That is why I do what I do. That is why I'm having a whole freaking Pride event, because it's too commercial. And there are Black gay artists in the city of Atlanta who deserve to be recognized for their talent and their accomplishments. And there are major promoters who have big events. They're going to bring in Saucy Santana and they're going to bring in big names so they can make big money. I'm providing an event where I'm bringing on independent artists who you should know, who have talent, because that is the power of promoting a platform. We create our own. We make our own. 3+1 Media is meant to do that shit. In the same way that you have the Shade Room with misinformation, they exist on Instagram. 3+1 Media also Instagram. What they have is funding from conservatives and Republicans who pump money into them, who buy the ads, and that's what funds them. So they're not going to bite the hand that feeds them. Although thankfully we finally see JJ Williams with the takedown of this organization. But this is the thing. JJ did amazing journalism, and JJ should be compensated for the work that he's done. But you know what? How many of us have even donated to JJ? I'm going to donate to JJ, but the reality is, he's done something that we've all complained about, that we've all wanted to see done. He finally put a huge blow onto the Shade Room. He should be compensated for it. I don't believe there is. I'm gonna take a gander and make it an allegation, allegedly, in my Carlos King voice, and I don't like Carlos King either. Allegedly. I allegedly believe that there is not one single national Democrat who said and reached out to this man in any way to see how can I harness his power, how can I harness his youth, how can I harness his influence to be of service to the American people. And there is no way I would let a JJ Williams be blowing up this week and not have brought him onto my team as an employee.
I agree with you. I agree with you. And I would say that because I tweeted at him, and I don't think because his shit was blowing up. So that I tweeted at him and I said, he is the future. I told y'all this in private. I said it in public because I believe in private and public recognition. Here's what I will say though, too. I think that I think time will come. And I say that because we know that Chris Mowry is
started from nothing. The White House.
Chris Mowry is making some good money. I'm putting it out there. I'm just saying.
I don't think he's making any money. Actually, he's not getting paid.
Ryan,
I can guarantee
Chris is my little mentee.
He's not getting paid
any money.
I'm telling you, he getting paid.
He might be getting paid from the people who subscribe to him under his podcast.
No. I'm talking about vocal. I'm talking about third party.
He's not.
As far as third party,
I am trying to tell you, y'all have not seen his content recently on TikTok.
I've seen his content.
No, I follow him. I look at his content.
I'm telling you, he does not get paid at all. So he's trying to promote something independent.
Somebody recently reached out to me about a Gen Z influencer, and I recommended Chris, and they didn't even know who he was.
What I'm trying to say is he may not be getting paid through the specific systems that we want him to get paid, but what I'm saying is the money is coming.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Absolutely.
I
I
know
believe that he's
he
going to
is.
make a
He's
lot.
But it should be there. This man has 300,000 followers. He should be getting compensated. But here's the thing. This is another thing that people don't realize. He has 300,000 followers, but just like Michael, who's on the chat right now, he's hurt his brand by being political. So brands who would sponsor him, I'm a blonde, blue-eyed white man. I can't get sponsorships and be like, what's that guy? Who is a famous? I don't know him. Anyway, it's a whole bunch of those influencers make like millions of dollars.
Talking about like the beauty brands.
He's supposed to be political. He's not going to get the opportunities he would have gotten. And the same thing goes for Mike and every other Gen Z creator and for JJ. When you choose that, you're choosing to be less viable as a brand influencer, and it's not fair. But because that's the way the world works, the political system should balance that out. These young people should be able to use their content and receive compensation.
Yeah, we're in a different age. I mean,
we really are, because even with that, like I can tell you, he ain't getting paid nothing. Look, a lot of us who's doing this and passionate about it ain't getting compensated. The whole fact of the matter is you'll have a Chris Mowry, you'll have a Micah, you'll have me, you'll have a Brian, you'll have Zach, you'll have literally all of us literally donating most of our time battling misinformation and actually promoting all the things that's going on in the Biden-Harris administration in real time. But this ain't our bread and butter. And that's the problem.
It's not how we eat. No, it's not how we eat.
If I was eating off of this, y'all would see me every fucking day. I would be, strong woman, ice cream, yes. I would be on here doing all that shit for Biden. But y'all ain't paying me. So I'm late to the party. I'm tardy for the party. I'm Kim Zolciak.
It's actually costing money to do this work. Like, it costs money to be a content creator. Like, I'm spending more money creating content than I am making content. And I know that, people know that. So again, I think that's a piece of it. Back to other, we as we get ready to kind of wind down, other things that the Democrats can learn from tonight's debate to carry forward to be impressive. We'll definitely say, number one, improve your messaging, be ready with the counterattacks, leverage influencers to do that work for you. What else?
I'm gonna give whoever's running, and I think it's the girl from New Jersey. I forget her name, but I think she actually graduated from Rutgers. Shout out my alma mater. The person who's running the Joe Biden's Twitter account has actually been on it tonight.
No games.
Literally live tweeting tonight and saying, like climate change is real, by the way, right? Being able to kind of make some little comments here and there and consistently using that platform. I mean, that platform, that account has millions of followers anyway, right? And so the way that right now things are going in terms of the engagement and people are on there, people were paying attention tonight, and they were paying attention to pundits like Simone Sanders on MSNBC. They were paying attention to Jen Psaki, her account. They were paying attention to Joe Biden's account. And you can see that from the sheer engagement. So I think that messaging needs to continue from more specific, trusted names. And I think that's happening tonight. So I'm going to give credit where the credit is due. There also has been a decline in their conservative identification system. Oh, they're going at it in the comments.
That's good.
I know that they've got a lot of great clips that they can make into an ad. I've already started seeing them snipping the clips they need.
Yes.
But as far as I know, I got a lot of shit I'm about to eat up thanks to a lot of the shit that they said, because I've got a lot of things to debunk and use, especially as far as the Ukrainian spending, because that was a big one that we didn't even talk about. But we
didn't talk about what?
We didn't talk about Ukraine. We didn't talk about the mere fact that it's interesting enough that lately, when it comes to being pushed through the algorithm, Republicans have been running with this talking point that, hey, Joe Biden is giving all this money to Ukraine, but doesn't want to invest in Americans, when yet all those people who are literally sitting on the debate stage literally voted. And it's funny, they talked about gas prices being so high. And what about gas? And we're going to figure out a way of lowering the price of gas, but they literally voted against lowering the price of gas. And it was literally last year. So
they need to say that forefront and center.
But nobody's going to address that. That's not going to get addressed because it's on Fox News. And this panders and pays into the Fox News audience and what they want America to believe, because they have an agenda. I don't want to see any I don't want to see any 2024 debate with President Biden on Fox News. The Democrats take a hard stance and say we are not going to participate in any Fox News debates, because Fox News has no no even attempt to be in any way credible news journalism with the lies they allow.
Child, it is what it is. They're gonna continue to do what they do. And I mean, doesn't Fox News have a larger how much was the what was the viewership of this?
Tonight.
Oh, I don't know. I'm sure it's going to be highly viewed. I mean, we viewed it, right? So we would have possibly been watching, Lawrence O'Donnell, on MSNBC in the background. We instead were watching, this debate. But right now, MSNBC is beating Fox News in key demographic areas right now. But again, that's always, because again, Democratic viewers are more fickle. They're not as loyal.
Absolutely. I think as we wind down too, I think one of the other things that the Ukraine conversation was a good one. I think the other thing is to talk about the abortion conversation, because that one was a little more robust. I don't understand, and Republicans do use this talking point all the time, and it is never really dug into, excavated, or knocked down in the way that I really wanted to, where they just deflect and they say that Democrats in states like New York and California want people to have abortion up until the date of birth.
Nobody's doing that.
I don't understand why nobody really attacks that, because that's so easy to discredit, right? Like, I don't.
But why would they attack it? They want their people to believe that Democrats want to go in there and rip out live children and crush them. That's what they want America to believe.
Our side, like I'm talking about.
No, we do. We just don't get. We don't get the clicks or views.
Democrat on the stage.
But here's the thing about that. So he said to his friend Penny, and I want to know who this lady is. Remember, she survived, being one of those children that was literally a late term abortion and somehow survived and was taken to the hospital by the grandmother. This and I want to see who the fuck this Penny person is. Penny Brown, who the fuck is
pan to pan? They said they threw Penny from pan to pan.
So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I didn't understand that. Yeah, Ron DeSantis made up, and then that other one with Tracy. Oh, and then just the other thing, like you have like Fox News consistently posting, like sowing division on how President Biden has actually addressed the wildfires in Maui, right? Like they would literally put people like him walking through the streets with the governor, with some, and talking to the families there, and they sow division on that. Like, again, I was watching Laura Ingraham prior to the fucking debates. I was like, what the fuck are they talking about?
They're lying. It's pretty much what they're doing. But you know what? That was a good win for Joe Biden, especially in this, because everybody, honestly, on that stage could have took a hit and tried to lie on Joe Biden's efforts, but they really didn't go with it. So we won that part. I noticed I was kind of getting nervous. I'm like, how are they going to try to spin this Maui situation, especially when it comes to Joe Biden's response? And I have to correct myself and fact check myself. In a video that I did pretty much breaking down the Maui situation, I said that he responded in 6 hours. It was actually 63 minutes.
That's what I'm saying. So that's all we got to say about it.
I mean, yeah, I think that's a great place. I would just think I'm thinking like, what more can Democrats do that I haven't said already in the invective that I gave earlier? And I would have to say that, I think they have their work cut out for them to be really geared up, and they can't take anything for granted. Democrats cannot take for granted that minority voters in this country are going to vote for them because they're the party that represents their best interests. We can't assume that the American voter is as informed as we would want them to be. Kenny, you were sounding the alarms in group chats about the Maui misinformation. And I was kind of like, this ain't worth my time. Like, I'm not going to make no comment.
I saw it coming.
You were sounding the alarm. You were on top of it. And you're like, this is a real issue. When I started to see all the Black people that really thought that all President Biden and the American government was going to do is give $700 checks, and that was it, while giving billions to Ukraine, I was floored. I would never imagine that people did not understand how disaster relief in America worked, because we've seen so many natural disasters, but clearly the majority of Americans didn't seem to understand the process. And so that is something that I was taking for granted, and now I won't do it again. But the same thing goes for our Democrats, leaders. They have to understand that the American people need a lot of information. They need a lot of education around how government works and how it should work, and not only on how it works and but also on not how it should work, but why it works that way. A lot of people who are not informed don't understand why you have FEMA, why we go through the states, why there's a state response as opposed to a national response to federal emergencies and disasters. We have to educate people on this is how it is, and this is why it is that way, because it's the better way. Just because every time you're going to have a Lauren Boebert pop out of her, underground bunker and her guns and her, whoever she's now sleeping with, to misalign the work of our leadership, and we've got to be prepared for that. So I would think that's what I would say is the next steps.
I feel like, and to everybody's point, especially to the way that y'all prosecuted the case, because I don't disagree with you. I think there should be an early on investment in people. I honestly feel like there should be more videos made about when it comes to messaging. It's not necessarily Democratic messaging, because when we say messaging, it's saying like Democrats aren't running on anything. We have to be very careful about the words that we use. It's who is the messenger? Who is the spokesperson that we can actually go to for this information? I think that's what needs to happen, because when it talks about messaging, I get the information. I see the messaging. For the most part, most Democrats agree on certain issues. It's just, who can we go to? Who do we uplift? Who can we invest in that's going to actually be able to give this message that people can actually understand and digest? So I'm starting to believe that when it comes to that, it needs to be invested from content creators, everyday Americans who actually have to deal with this on a daily basis, that any of these policies would actually affect them in real time and in real life.
This is what I'm saying is we got to educate, we got to tolerate, we got to motivate, and baby, we got to celebrate.
Child, sounds like a book that never came out yet.
That sounds like a book. That sounds like a book that coming out soon.
Say it again, Brian. I'll be damned. The fucking book is coming. The book is coming. The book has been written except one chapter. And there's a series of interview questions that's also lacking, because there were some people who said, I'm not doing no more damn work. But the book is coming. And the book is coming. I am literally out here trying to raise all the funds I can so I can invest those funds in these very important projects. Kevin's brought up some great points. I just cannot, this is so important. Literally, there are portions of Puerto Rico that are still in disarray from Hurricane Maria, which happened during the Trump administration, and it's all yet been forgotten about. Make no mistake, I'm afraid that if President Biden is not re-elected as president, there'll be portions of Maui that will also be forgotten in 7 years. There's a lot at stake in this election, and there's a lot of work that has to be done from a whole lot of communities to push forward and ensure that America continues to improve. There's a lot of work to be done. A lot of work. So, guys, I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone who joined in. Get some rest. It's 1 o'clock. It's gonna be 1 o'clock soon. You guys are getting ready to go to bed. You're gonna have what's going on over there. Kenny, you got your head wrapped.
Look,
Brian,
I'm ready to go ahead and lay it down. But I have one question for y'all as far as the messaging goes. How would you feel the sell on the messaging goes? Should it be a message of hope in what's been done, or a message of fear? I think hope and celebration is the best way of going.
Fear never works for Democrats. Fear will never motivate Democrats to go to the poll. Fear only works for Republicans who are mired in hatred anyway. Fear and hate goes hand in hand, like love and hope go hand in hand, okay? So President Biden is going to have to mobilize Democrats and Democrat-leaning voters like minorities and young people to come out and vote. And Republicans know that. This country has never been so polarized. The Democrats are Democrats, Republicans are Republicans. There are not a lot of people in the middle ground. It's about who is going to get their people to get out and vote. And it's a lot harder to get people to get out and vote for an incumbent than it is for a challenger. And so the burden of work is going to be on President Biden and his reelection team. That's where the burden is going to lie.
Absolutely. It's always going to be hope and actual policies, right? Like that's and the other thing is that Democrats are more scrutinizing than Republican voters, right? Republican voters are cool with, if you do racism, just go a little harder on the same, but stay with racism. Like they don't want you to veer off. That's why they're conservative, right? They don't want too much change in their messaging. They want what works. They want to keep doing that, and that's it. Democrats are like so, specific on how you have progressives that's quote unquote progressives that want change all overnight. You want people who are incrementalists and more pragmatists. You have people who are all around the fucking array of people, and nothing is ever enough, right? So I think that is the thing. You have to be, if you walk into the space competent and confident, you're moving in the right direction. That's what we have to. So we need people who are going to celebrate what we're doing, say why we need to continue on that track, but be hopeful that there is a better future on the horizon for tomorrow.
And we do need to explain why these agencies exist and what they do and the essential value they provide to the American people. That's a great idea. That's a great assignment for all of us here, is to create some information around why do we need a Department of Education? Like, what's the purpose of it? Because clearly the fact that Republicans want to dismantle it and their base supports it, it's a concern.
Well, you know why? Because we just canceled 804,000 people's student loan debt just over the last few days. That's why they want to dismantle it.
That's what I'm saying. And we need to highlight that's a good point, because I was going to say that we need to highlight the fact that we've actually canceled student loan. So promises kept, promises made, promises kept. We need to have a fucking division. What were the promises that were made when he was running for office? What has he actually accomplished, right? And then we can talk about that from the record. And I know Kenny, you already have that shit. You fucking breathe.
I gotta go back and redo a few things, child.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we need to do. And then we need to also talk about things that we went on, saving Medicare and Medicaid. You literally have Chris Christie on this debate stage tonight say that the way that he took money, like was able to save money for the taxpayers, was cutting pensions. Did y'all hear that? When he talked about that, he literally said that on the debate stage, and I'm like, is anybody going to take him to task on that?
Nobody cares.
Needs to be brought up. But like, go back for a moment. So here's again, right? Like, I know I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but Kenny, you say it's not messaging, and I have to say bullshit. I have to say bullshit. It is messaging. That is someone's job. You know how many people I've seen post about the fact that, one, the courts ruled in favor of President Biden's loan forgiveness in the end, and that loans were immediately forgiven, like they took action right away. I saw one post, and that post was from Mentally Divine. I didn't see anybody else talking about it. There were hundreds of Black people all over social media crying and complaining about Biden's failure with student loans. Nina Turner tweeted about it 16 times a day, okay? But now that the loans are being forgiven, I'm seeing no talk of it and no recognition of it, no celebration of the accomplishment. The majority of people, unless your loans were forgiven, they don't even know that this happened. That's
what's funny about this. The very people who complain about student loan debt, because the whole thing is, I know about it because it's all the posts are there. That's what's crazy. But the people who will say, oh, I don't know what they're doing, but it's interesting enough that you follow the president, you follow the vice president. They have millions of followers, but millions of these followers apparently don't know that they posted this. As far as the messaging goes, they're messaging.
I saw one post from Brian. Kenny, I saw no other post. I saw no news outlet cover it. I saw
no news outlet is going to cover.
No other post about it. I saw more posts about the Kenya Moore interview with Carlos King than I saw about this action. I saw one post.
As far as the messaging goes, when we're talking about messaging, what's coming out of their mouths, they're putting the information out there. The problem is they're just not paying blogs to post about it.
They're not putting it out in a way that is being received by the American people. So therefore, it's not happening. A tree falls in the forest. Did the tree fall? Yeah, it fell, but don't no motherfucking body know it ain't there no more.
That's what I'm saying. And I think the bigger point is it systematized? Because Republican messaging is systematized. It's systemic.
Open the piggy bank.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to start paying people to actually post about it. That's the only thing I can say. But as far as the messaging goes, we have a message. Because when we're talking about messaging, we're talking about what's actually being said about Democrats. What are they actually putting out? What are they actually promoting? Because it says that we don't have a clear direction on where we want to go in America. We know where we want to go in America. But I was talking about as far as who's actually posting it, who's actually doing that? No, nobody's going to post about those things. It's not going to get no
I
traction.
have 6 fundraising messages in my inbox from 8 o'clock until 12 o'clock. 6.
And then nothing about student loan, I'm guessing.
Darn it, my camera came out unplugged because I'm sitting here tapping the damn table, and now my camera came on.
Well, and so while Zach gets his thing together, yeah, I mean, there he is. He's like,
Y'all gotta be specific when it comes to messaging. There's 2 definitions of a message.
hey, that's the wrong camera. There you
It's
go.
promotion is what y'all are talking about. They're not promoting the message. They're not putting any money and dollar signs behind that message.
Right.
Because when y'all say they don't have a message, I'm thinking like, when most people think when you say that Democrats don't have a message, they mean they don't have a platform. They have nothing to run off of. They need promotion is what
that's a
y'all need.
platform. Kenny, that's a platform. I'm not talking about a platform. I think you hit the nail on the head. There you go. What you're saying in terms of Democrats having these briefings and that stuff to me,
They have the message. They just don't have.
That's a message in a platform. Messaging is how you get your platform across to the people. I'm not saying messaging a noun, okay? A message is a noun. I'm saying messaging the verb, the work, the actual getting it to the people, the action. That's where they fucking up.
I guess so.
But here's the thing. What I'm saying is also that I think that you're absolutely right, Kenny. That they do have.
Y'all don't let me curse 5 times. I gotta delete the whole damn live now because bad words come out of my mouth.
You bleep it after. It's not gonna bleep because you have to. But whatever. Listen, the point is, I think Kenny, you're right. I think we're saying the same thing. What we're saying is that the message does exist. We have what we want to say, but then this is the ways in which we get the message to people. And I think that there are various modalities of doing that. You have peer-to-peer, right? So you have people in the same generation communicating in ways that people can understand. And you also have, the specific time, energy, and effort that it takes to actually get into the communities, mobilize.
There we
go. And so that's what I'm saying. So I think we're saying the same thing. I think for me, that's what it is. It's systemic. I think Republicans do a better job at systematizing the way that
putting it out
happens, but Democrats need to do a better job at that. And again, I think that's a very fair critique because at the end of the day, we over here talking about we know who we're gonna vote for, we know where we stand on the issues and how we want to move. I think that though there could be a more rigorous, backing and support and promotion to your point on how this happens. To be honest, and I think I think it's fair.
That's fair. That's what needs to happen.
Yeah, absolutely right.